Sometimes a function might throw different types of exceptions for reporting different errors. For example, let's change this method. So if the width is greater than 100, we're going to throw an out of range exception. So here we add, if width is greater than 100, we throw an out of range exception. And here we can say the width cannot be greater than 100. Okay. Now back to our main function. In this function, we're only catching exceptions of type invalid argument. So if we run the program and enter a value greater than 100, again, our program crashes. So here we need to add another catch block. So right after we type another catch block and give it a parameter of type out of range exception. Now these two catch blocks are completely independent of each other, just like having two separate functions. So the name of these parameters don't have to be unique, okay? Now in this catch block, again, we're going to print the error message stored in the exception. So now if we run the program and enter a negative value or a value larger than 100, we show a friendly error message to the user. Beautiful. But look, the implementation of these two catch blocks is identical. Can we simplify this code? Absolutely. So both invalid argument and out of range are derivatives of the logic error exception. Now in the previous section, I told you that when using inheritance, a parent object can always hold child objects. So a child object can be implicitly converted to a parent object. An example of that was a function called draw that took a widget object. We could call this function and give it an instance of the widget or any of its derivatives, right? So here we can consolidate these catch blocks into one catch block with a parameter of type logic error. And with this, we don't need the second catch block. So any kind of logic error exceptions will be caught by this block. Now, if you run the program and enter a negative value or a value greater than 100, we get an error message. Beautiful. Now, sometimes we need to handle certain types of exceptions in a different way. For example, let's say we want to handle out of range exceptions a little bit differently from other type of logic error exceptions. How can we do this? Well, we add this catch block back in, but now we have a warning because this catch block is listed after the logic error catch block. So when this line throws an exception, these catch blocks are executed in order. The first catch block that catches an exception will handle it, and then control moves outside of the try catch block. So here, if you have an out of range exception, the first catch block will catch that exception because an out of range exception is a logic error exception, right? So the second catch block will get ignored. Now to solve this problem, we need to order these catch blocks from the most specific to most generic ones. So here we need to move this catch block before the logic error catch block. Now the error goes away. So in this catch block, we can have a different algorithm. Perhaps if this is a critical issue, we can send an email to an admin, or we can log the error in a log file and so on. So this is how we can catch multiple exceptions.